approximately 4:40 p.m., Long Beach police officers were dispatched to the 5300 block of East Ocean Boulevard regarding a report of a person with a gun. Two people inside the calling party's residence could see the man with the gun on the porch landing. The caller described the gun as a six-shooter. We have an audio that we can play. We'll play you an excerpt from that. Are we ready to go on that?
Long Beach 911, do you need police, fire, or paramedics?
No police.
And what is the problem?
There's a guy in the backyard, just sitting on the porch, and he's got a gun in his hand.
Do you have any kids?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is he white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
He's white.
About how old is he?
Half his age, probably mid-30s.
What is he doing with the gun? Is he holding it down?
He's just sitting at his legs crossed on the porch landing.
I don't know if you're aware of type of guns. Are you able to give me any description of the gun at all?
It's, just what I can see when he's going back and forth, it looks like a little tiny six-shooter or something like that.
So like a revolver or
Yeah.
9mm, 45?
I wouldn't say 9mm or 45, but I don't know my guns very well.
That's an excerpt from the 911 call that dispatch received. Officers then, pursuant to that, responded and took positions where they could watch the subject until more officers arrived at the scene. They observed the subject appear to be intoxicated and was holding what appeared to them to be a handgun as described by the calling party. The officers did not immediately contact the subject so that they could set up containment in the area, fearing that if the subject walked out of the location with the gun, citizens and officers could be in harm's way. Officers also waited for additional resources to be better able to handle the subject before contacting him. They requested a helicopter to be able to contain the scene, canine units, and requested our mental evaluation team in the hopes that that would be a helpful intervention measure. As these additional units and resources were responding, the subject pointed what they believed was a handgun at the apartment building. This is a small area to the rear of the front location. There's a number of apartments in the back, and those areas had not been cleared at that time. The subject continued to play with the object, which made noises that were similar to that as described by officers as a handgun. As the subject was in a seated position, he used a two-handed pistol grip hold on an object with his arms fully extended, as like this, as the officers responded, which is consistent with the behavior of someone about to discharge a firearm, and he pointed that at one of the officers, and at that time, two officers shot the suspect. The subject was immediately handcuffed. Long Beach Fire Department paramedics arrived on the scene to treat the subject. However, the subject was pronounced at the scene. No officers were injured in this incident. Our investigation reveals that the subject actually had a black pistol grip water nozzle with a metal tip. A handgun was not recovered at the scene, but as you can see in this photo, the likeness of the object, and I think you can see what the officers saw there and what they were confronted with that day. In addition to the Long Beach Police Department's ongoing investigation, the LA County District Attorney's Office is also conducting an independent investigation, which is routine for all officer-involved shootings in Los Angeles County. In closing, I just want to say we want to be as open and transparent as possible. It takes time to confirm some of the information in these investigations and to be able to verify some of the questions that you may have in these types of investigations. So if I could, I'll open it up to any questions you have, but please understand that there's a limited amount of information we can share at this time.
Chief, good afternoon. Was anything said to him? Did the officers order that he put whatever it was in his hands down? What was the conversation between officers and the subject?
Yeah, based on my understanding of what happened, the officers, as soon as the suspect became aware that the officer's presence, at that point, then he lifted the object in his hand with a two-handed stance and pointed it at the officers. And so I don't have any information that they were able at that point to be able to direct commands to the subject.
And what about the use of other less than lethal force, taser?
I mean, those are options. They were trying to set up a containment around him to be able to, first of all, request that he do put down the object, and then to be able to use other options available to them. That situation did not transpire that way due to the actions of the subject. There were not 27 shots fired. There were, I believe, 2 rounds from a shotgun, and I believe...
A shotgun? Oh my god.
And
You
two,
shot
and,
him with a shotgun? Oh my god.
and how many rounds?
Oh,
And 6 rounds from a handgun.
Look at that, it's a nozzle, spray nozzle. I'm not an expert, I can see it from here.
Oh yeah. Shotgun.
Chief, you just talked to members of the family. Obviously, they're in shock, they're grieving. What did you say to them, and what was your intention there in personally addressing them?
Yeah, once I became aware that there were family members here, my intentions were to pass along my condolences personally and the condolences of the department for what they're going through, for their loss. It's a tragic situation for everybody involved, certainly the family, the community, and the officers involved as well. Well, I think it's certainly a tragedy. As far as a mistake or anything, the officers responded to a call of a man with a gun. They confronted what they believed was a man with a gun. The subject took actions that were consistent with life-threatening behavior toward the officers, and the officers used deadly force.
Excuse me, we visited the scene, and from the street to the back of where that complex is, it's covered with some trees and bushes. If he were to point that towards the bushes, at that time of night at 4:40 in the evening when the sun is setting, he probably wasn't even apparent that you were even there. You made no communication with him. So what was he pointing it at? He probably didn't even know you were on the scene.
I think there's only one person that knows all of these answers, and they won't be answered now. Yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, why couldn't they just say, put it down? Put it down.
You know what? Let me answer the question. I understand you're distraught. I understand your frustration.
Before you shoot another human being and take his life.
Can I say one thing,
No.
too? Your officers should get some glasses.
He's a
If they
father.
can't see that's a water nozzle.
You know what? Let me answer.
He's a father. He has an 8-year-old son. He at least deserved to be told, put your hands where we can see them. Place the object down. 2 seconds of
You know what?
conversing.
Let me conclude. We'll answer any of your questions separately. We're not in a position here now. I don't want to. The family's distraught, obviously, and I don't want to put them through, a debate back and forth. Certainly, I'm not in a position to do that. Again, our condolences to you for your loss and for all you're going through. If we can answer questions without taking on additional debate, then we'd be happy to do that. Otherwise, I would ask for your understanding, and we'll do one-on-ones. Yeah, and at this point, we can't tell you what he was thinking, what was in his mind, what his state of intoxication was, if that was the case. If there were other factors, we don't know that at this point. The message is you're responsible for your actions. He was not in his own home. He did not live there.
His best friend was there.
Okay.
He spent the night there Friday night. He was there on a regular basis.
Thank
There
you.
were new tenants in the front house. There aren't multiple apartments. There's 2 studios and 1 home there. So there was nobody home in the back apartments because there aren't back apartments there.
Okay.
Also, Chief, all the bullets are even with the banister. The man never stood up. He was sitting down when he was assassinated.
Okay, thank you.
Murder.
I understand your frustration, and
I
again, our
understand
condolences to you.
ballistics, Chief. I don't understand this.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Look at
we're
it here. I
going to be
appreciate
done
it.
with the questions
Thank
now.
you.
Thank you very much for everyone who came today. Appreciate it.
Father.